The Western Conference Final is set. VGK taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Who will win and move on to the Stanley Cup Finals? We asked you guys, and that's what we're talking about today on Sound Off Sports.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here in the den for Sound Off Sports. I'm your host, Mike Davis, joined by my main man, my producer, my co-host, James Edward Barrickman IV. You have a heart of gold. Are you also forged in gold?
I better believe I am forged in gold, Mike Davis.
You know, that's what we're all saying right now. The medieval maniacs as we're getting ready for the Western Conference Finals, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Listen, this is a team that won the President's Trophy, best record in the NHL, a superstar team with, of course, McKinnon, Cale Makar, a lot of great players on this squad. They won back in 2022, the whole thing, Stanley Cup Finals. We, of course, won in 2023, but we asked you, who is going to pull it out? Who's going to win the Western Conference Finals and move on to the Stanley Cup? James, let's go to our first call. I believe it's from Julius.
Hi, my name is Julius. I believe the Golden Knights will win. They have a chance and they have the best players. They have a chance beating Colorado and going to the finals. I believe they will win the cup. That's what I believe.
All right, thank you so much, Julius, calling in, giving his thoughts. As always, 702-855-3502. Give us a buzz. We want to know if you're forged in gold, like James over here. If you're ready.
I don't know if I'm actually forged in gold here.
What does that mean? Does that mean you're just like, you know, you're
made out of gold. You're like if the Tin Man was the gold man. You know,
forged. But I feel like forged, that means like you got to grow, you got to develop, you got to cultivate, right? It's not just being given to you.
Forged feels
doesn't
like
mean you're handed gold. You gotta make yourself into gold.
Like, listen, I'm from Pittsburgh, so like it feels like the process of making steel. But you know, it's hot. You know, there's an iron in the fire, but molten. It's cold. Yeah,
it's molten.
So that's where I'm thinking for whatever forged in gold means.
Okay. Well, listen, the Valley, definitely forged in gold right now. The medieval maniacs are excited for this big showdown. I mean, and listen, this is a team, the Colorado Avalanche, they're deep, James. They're
tough, man.
They've had 17 different players throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs score a goal.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a deep squad. Now, it's funny because these are two teams, two franchises that have a lot of star power. I would say if any team can match up with the Avalanche, it's probably the Golden Knights.
From a roster perspective, absolutely. Yep.
Now, Mark Stone, we need him to get healthy. Of course, Mitch Marner is on a tear. This is a guy who played for the Toronto Maple Leafs his entire career, had the same narrative. This is a guy who comes up short in the playoffs. Meanwhile, right now, he's changed that whole narrative around. He's got 18 points right now, leading everybody in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's a front runner for the Conn Smythe at the current moment. So Marner, Eichel, hopefully Stone comes back. I mean, right now, between all that and Dorofeyev, who's just on a monster tear, I mean, we could see some stuff happen here. I think the X factor is honestly going to be Carter Hart.
I agree with you 100%. That is my entire take. Is it all comes down to Carter Hart?
He's
going to have to be lights out.
Is he going to play like we've seen to the best of his ability, where he's blocking shots, you know, glove side, stick side, he's giving up one goal, or is this going to be where boom, you know, all these basically unforced errors, goals happening right, left? What do you think?
He's been mostly good this playoff series. It's who knows? Goalies are such head cases. Who knows which version of Carter Hart we're gonna see? I would be willing to bet that Carter Hart shows up and plays his best in this series. Although I am forged in gold, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm not picking the Knights here.
I don't think anybody is. Have you seen anybody pick the Knights?
Yeah, our SOS fan vote.
Okay.
Now let's preface that by saying they're probably not the most unbiased
group
that we could.
But I haven't seen media members or television personalities.
The Avs are pretty heavy favorites. But I don't think they should be as heavy of favorites as they are.
I think it's still
the Knights have a great roster, as good a roster as there is in the league.
I think they're going to go 6 or 7. And here's the funny thing. I want to get to this graphic, and I want to show everybody what the breakdown is in terms of where our audience is choosing and what that percentage looks like. But coming up in a little bit, we're going to be talking about this instance, this situation in which John Tortorella, after winning Game 6 with the Golden Knights, actually denies media availability and closes down, the changing room area from media availability and everything. And then VGK gets penalized a second-round pick, and Tortorella gets fined $100,000. I have a take on that, and that's going to lead us into the next block. But before we do that, let's check out this fan audience
the Sound Off Sports fan vote.
Let's see. What is it?
Golden Knights or Avalanche? Who is going to advance to the Stanley Cup? 67% of our audience says the Golden Knights. 33% say the Avs.
Wow.
Again, we are pulling a very biased group here when we do these, but 67% of Medieval Maniacs say the Golden Knights are going to advance. So that seems pretty optimistic.
I mean, I think people are optimistic here when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll see what happens. I feel like, this Avalanche team was, the front runner all season.
They're a machine. They're an absolute machine.
121 points this year, I believe. So, they've been on a heater all season long. Of course, this is a roster that's super duper strong. But I do think the Knights, they just have to steal a couple. If they steal a couple, you never know. Playoff hockey, you never know what happens. But if they steal a couple wins, you never know what happens in a Game 6, a Game 7 situation. And Mitch Marner, a guy who, for the most of his career, was actually not, a good playoff player, number one, but number two, didn't play well late into playoff series. I'm talking Game 5s, Game 6, Game 7s. He's actually playing super duper well in Game 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. So, I think the Avs aren't going to sweep the Knights. This is going to go deep. This is going to go 5, 6, 7 games if anything happens, regardless of who wins. So
I would be shocked if this goes anything less than 6.
Yeah.
Official prediction here: Avs in 7. Golden Knights give the Avs everything they can handle. I think you're going to really see the talent the Golden Knights have on this roster put on display. Torts and the boys are gonna give Medieval Maniacs a reason to get loud here in this series, but I think the Avs are just a little too good. They're probably gonna win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I'm not a part of the 67%. I'm with you. I believe they're gonna take down VGK, but you never know what's gonna happen. And I do have a little bit of a take coming up after a short break I want to get into because John Tortorella and VGK, they basically went against the league's media policy. They were penalized pretty heavily, and then they were denied upon an appeal. We're going to get into that after the break, and I'm going to tell you why I think it could actually benefit the team. We'll see what happens. All right, welcome back to Sound of Sports. Mike Davis with you. So if you know what's going on with VGK and John Tortorella, it's pretty much a lot of the talk has nothing to do with the Western Conference Finals, which is pretty crazy, James, because when you're one of the final 4 teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and most people are not talking about what's happening on the ice, but in fact what's going on off the ice, there's a lot of drama going down. So, of course, after Game 6, after a huge win where you would think Tortorella and the boys are all amped up, pumped up, this is the one time when you're headed to the Western Conference Final, this is when you do want to talk to the media. Well, John Tortorella didn't, okay? So they violate the NHL, the league's media availability policy. What happens in turn after shutting down any media availability, they get fined Tortorella $100,000 plus they get sanctioned and they lose their second-round draft pick in this year's draft, meaning VGK doesn't have a first-rounder because they traded it away for Noah Hannafin. Now they don't have a second-rounder. Their first pick is going to be in the third round. So everybody's up in arms. People are like, wow, this is way too much. Way too much of a penalty for not having your team, your players, your coach available media-wise. Now, the NHL said this is a pattern of behavior and repeated warnings. So that's why they went a little aggressive maybe with the, the sanctions and the penalty. But is there a way, and this is what I want to ask you, James, because this is what I feel. Is there a way that this whole situation off the ice could actually bring this team closer together and potentially amp them up, give them a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, like, listen.
You think this is bulletin board material?
I think John Tortorella.
Us against the world.
Exactly. Thank you. You have your coach get up in front of the squad and say, listen, guys, everybody's against us. We're the bad boys of the NHL. The league doesn't like us. The league wants us to lose. Everybody's banking on the Avs. Nobody else is picking them except if you're a fan of Sound Off Sports and the fan vote. It's us against the world. And he brings everybody together. He does the whole PowerPoint presentation. He's probably not a PowerPoint guy, John Tortorella. He probably just puts it up on a nice chalkboard.
Right.
And it says, boom, it's us against the world. How is that not going to motivate this squad, this team? Because Tortorella likes being that guy. We all know that. You're not that guy unless you like to be that guy.
So
is there a world in which it's bad to lose a draft pick, but I'm just reframing it. Is there a way in which this could actually further motivate this team to take down a front runner in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
No.
Okay.
So listen.
I just make this whole big spiel and
it was good, and I appreciate the passion. If it were something, I don't know, like Mark Stone takes a cheap shot, he gets knocked out, right? He's down on the ice, and let's say, I don't know, Shea Theodore comes over and knocks some guy out, kind of a cheap shot, but whoever hit Mark Stone, it was a retaliation shot on the guy that just knocked out your captain. And the guy who knocked out Mark Stone doesn't get suspended, Shea Theodore does.
Okay.
Let's say that's the situation.
That would be
maybe that would be bulletin board material. The league in this instance, they suspend Shea Theodore, but not the guy who knocked out Mark Stone. Maybe in that case,
it's inspirational.
It's us against the world bulletin board material. What makes this different is that John Tortorella and the Golden Knights they did this to themselves. It's so stupid. It's such a stupid reason to lose $100,000 in quality draft capital. And nobody did this to the Knights but themselves. So if John Tortorella hypothetically gets up there and gives a rah-rah speech, it's us against the world, the NHL wants us to lose, I'd be looking around like, dude, you did this to us on your own.
But sometimes the most elite competitors, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, what they do is, if you've heard stories of them, if they're walking in the hallway with a teammate, like they don't want the teammate to even get into the restroom faster than, everything becomes a competition.
Everything becomes personal.
Everything is personal.
Right.
So to me, maybe there's a way in which, as you're talking about a team sport, you're trying to foster unity, you're trying to foster a little bit more of like some grit, some edge, because listen, they're not going up against the Utah Mammoth now. They're going up against the team that's favored to win the whole thing for the entire season. So maybe this gives them a little extra juice, a little extra motivation. It's like, listen, look at all the stuff people are saying about us behind our back.
So, to that point, RotoWire.
Yeah.
They came out with a study that shows that the Golden Knights are the most hated hockey team in America.
Really?
So
say this is playing in.
So now, if Torts wants to pull that up and say Nobody wants us to win. This really is us against the world. Show them this RotoWire study. Don't sit there and point to the sanctions the NHL dropped on you because you're an idiot who decided you didn't want to stay in Anaheim for the night, so you shut down media availability to get home quicker. You did that to yourself, and not to mention the Golden Knights. This was a pattern of things that led up to this, all caused by the Golden Knights themselves and the Golden Knights alone. And if you want bulletin board rah, this is us against the world material, show them this RotoWire study right here. The most hated team in America,
and
Vegas.
And maybe that helps. And there's, reasons why maybe they are. I mean, because they had success from the get-go, right off the bat. They really haven't had they've only had one season where they didn't make the playoffs as a franchise in their history. But I mean,
they're always going for it.
Yeah,
they're
firing
manipulating the
guys who win their cups with them. Like, it's always about doing the best thing for the team that year, that season, to make a run for it.
Yeah, and there's plenty of reason on the outside to not like the Golden Knights. Yeah. All the things you mentioned, manipulating the cap with LTIR and things of that nature, constantly going for it at the deadline, shutting down media availability, firing very, very good head coaches at the first sign of trouble.
I think the fact that it's Vegas, it's fun, it's loose. If you look in the stands,
nobody thought this thing was going to work in the desert anyway.
Yeah, there's a brash mentality to this team. We'll see what happens, but we know it's going to be a good series. We know this Western Conference showdown is going to be a lot of fun. Give us a call, 702-855-3502. Coming up after a short break, we're going to be talking about a guy. He's going to be joining me in the studio, somebody that everyone loves. He's going to be talking about high school athletics. Ray Brewer from the Las Vegas Sun. He's going to break down the Sun's Standout Awards.
You're watching Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
All right, everybody, we're back here on Sound Off Sports. I am joined right now by one of my favorite people in all of Vegas. You know him from Sin City Beat. He's one of our favorite panelists to have on the show. It's the managing editor of the Las Vegas Sun. The great Ray Brewer joins me now to talk everything about the Sun Standout Awards, the 9th annual show went down last night, honoring all the best, the brightest high school athletes here in our community. So, Ray, good to see you. How did it go? You were dressed in a beautiful white tux.
Yeah, you've previously hosted like our 40 under 40 award, and you come out prim and proper and to the nines, and I'm sitting there looking at my selections. I got like an Amazon white jacket, and I'm like, let's put it on. Let's see what happens. So we went with the white, and just a really great night. Fortunate my wife makes a big deal of it for our family, so my kids were there. They're all dressed up. My son kind of did a little usher work, and it was just, getting to celebrate our Las Vegas kids, and, great. We know we have great athletes here, right? 7 nationally ranked teams throughout the course of the season, but the citizens and the scholar athletes and the community service, and it's not just football and basketball. Yeah, those are the 2 sexy sports. Those are the ticket sales sports. But there's 20 sports being played. There's a lot of great stories to be told.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you're here because I feel like a lot of times, especially on this show, a lot of our programming for Silver State Sports and even across Fox 5, we don't give enough love to our high school athletes. And you're somebody, everybody always comes up to me and says, Ray Brewer genuinely loves high school athletics. Like, your passion is unmatched when it comes to high school athletics. Before we get into some of the awards and the highlights from last night, your passion, how did it get to that level for high school athletics? Because you started at like a crazy young age reporting on high school sports here in the Valley, right?
Yeah, so I started at 19 Henderson Home News, now defunct.
Like
Henderson
getting a
Home
Paycheck
News.
And everything.
Yeah, it was like $260 a week, $7.75 an hour. But I've gone up from there. But it was, there was nothing better than like the last Friday in August at Don Taylor Stadium at Basic High School, and the Wolfpack running out there, and they've got their fight song is also like the Michigan and Wolverine fight song.
Oh, okay.
And I hate Michigan. My family's from Ohio, and just hearing that fight song and watching them run out there, and just it's that community feel, right? Henderson is like its own little separate community when you're down in East Henderson by Basic High School, and that kind of helped kind of facilitate the love. And I was a high school athlete at Shap, 93 state champs. I got to bring it up. And I wasn't one of our best players, but our state season, we didn't lose a game.
What sport was this?
Soccer.
Didn't
lose a game, nationally ranked. I so badly wanted to be part of like have that, right as a practice player off the bench, good student. And, I wanted to feel like I was part of the team. And one day I got quoted in the paper, and it kind of just stuck with me. And also, my dad went to Steubenville Big Red in Ohio. It's like one of the great Ohio football schools. And his whole life revolves around that.
All right, thanks so much to Ray Brewer. Make sure you go to our YouTube page at Silver State Sports to check out the full interview. All right, welcome back to Sound Off Sports, Sink or Swim time. I was thinking about you, James, because news that Aaron Rodgers is returning to play for the Steelers at 43 years old. What's the initial thought, the feeling you had when you saw that?
It was kind of anticipated. We knew it was going to happen. Disappointed nonetheless. I was hoping the kids, Will Howard, Drew Allard, maybe get a shot to start under McCarthy. Maybe the team would finally suck bad enough to get a top 5, top 10 pick. But they're a lost organization, and they don't understand the benefits of doing such things. And so until they figure that out, they are going to be a mediocre at best organization.
We'll see if Rodgers has any magic left. He did win a Super Bowl back with Mike McCarthy a bunch of years ago in Green Bay. Listen, thanks so much for joining us here. I want to thank Julius, James, editor Jess. I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time here on Sound Off Sports.